지켜도 될지 너는 나의 지구 내게 난 just a moon 네 맘을 밝혀주는 너의 작은 별 너는 나의 지구 And all I see is you 이렇게 그저 널 바라볼 뿐인가 모두들 내가 아름답다 하지만 내 바다는 온통 까만 걸 꽃들이 피고 하늘이 새파란 별 정말 아름다운 건 너야 이제는 내 이유가 됐어 너는 나의 지구 내게 난 just a moon 네 맘을 밝혀주는 너의 작은 별 너는 나의 지구 And all I see is you 이렇게 그저 널 바라볼 뿐인걸 In the crystal moonlight 두 눈을 감아도 넌 파랗게 내게 밀려와 In the full moonlight 두 눈을 뜨고서 널 담아도 괜찮은 걸까 어떤 말보다 고맙단 말보다 난 너의 곁에 있을게 캄캄한 밤에 훨씬 더 환하게 너의 곁을 지킬게 문득 생각해 너는 날 정말 알고 있을까 네 존재가 얼마나 예쁜지 너 알고 있을까
I hope you're ready to discuss our dear Seokjin today. So, Billy, why don't you start? What do you think? Name one of the qualities you love about Jin.
The first thing that I wanted to say about Jin is I think Jin was one of the members that took me the longest to kind of understand, like properly understand, because I think at first sight, when you become an ARMY and you're kind of just on the surface and learning about each of the members, Jin seems to be very extroverted and funny and playful and cheerful all the time and silly. And I think I thought that that's kind of who he was for quite a long time. It took me a couple of months of kind of watching their videos and getting to know them more before you kind of realize about Jin that a lot of it is him acting a certain way to make others feel comfortable and to make himself feel comfortable. And he's not just as simple as a cheerful, bubbly character. There is so much more to him than that. So I think the first thing I wanted to talk about was kind of these two different personalities that he has, and kind of the extrovert versus the introvert, and the serious versus the playful, because I think he has both very well, and he knows how to use them in a certain way in which situation that calls for which personality.
Yeah, I completely agree. When I first started, it's the same. You dive first, you see that who is BTS, the 7 members of Bangtan video, and then you watch all those crack videos and compilations, and you see that extroverted identity that he projects. But the more you dive in, the more you see the actual footage of like a Bon Voyage or stuff like that. That's when you really see what he's like when he's not away from the spotlight, but not as self-conscious, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of you pointed out that something I always notice now after getting to know him more, about how when he does one of his running gags, when he does like his worldwide handsome announcements and things like that, his ears always go red because he's embarrassed. But
Yeah.
I think I love that about him because he knows how to make everybody feel comfortable, and not just himself and the well, it's not even himself really, because I think he kind of sacrifices his own comfort to make sure everybody else feels comfortable, but also for people watching at home. Like for ARMYs, we're able to feel more comfortable when he makes these jokes, and when we find them funny and we can talk about them. We have the running jokes with him, and it's just a great thing that he does to be able to completely push himself out of his comfort zone to benefit other people.
Yeah, and he always uses those jokes so smartly. Like he doesn't just, he jokes around. He either, like you see them joke around on set, and it makes everything more smooth and easier and fun. The whole atmosphere of filming becomes more fun. But also when they do like interviews and shows that are with other people, he always uses the jokes as an icebreaker, or plays with his vocal range, with his vocal tones, in order to be that icebreaker that immediately puts everyone around him at ease. And you really see that. And the other members, you see the comfort they get from that. Like we know that Namjoon asked him when they're abroad for Jin to be next to him in interviews, because it makes him feel more confident. And Jin is always there, like to pull out that joke when everything gets too quiet. And he's really brave with putting himself out there in that way. It's so brave, and he does it with such a smile, and it's so much fun. And I love that. He really makes everything more fun.
Yeah, and I think that brave is one of the words that really sums up Jin. But I think he is a very brave person, and he takes on a lot of things without complaining about them. And to be able to just put yourself out there in such a way that you wouldn't necessarily do, or you wouldn't feel comfortable doing, it just takes a lot of courage. And I think that if Jin was just a funny joker guy, if he was just that, he would still be so lovable and so kind of heartwarming, and you would really, really like him as a person. But the extra layer of the fact that a lot of the time he does this because he feels like it's a great way of helping those around him, it just adds an extra layer of appreciation for him.
Definitely. And I think also, like, I feel like Jin had his whole upbringing set him on a very certain track. And the fact that he chose to go to acting school, and then to be an actor, and then to become an idol and do that, that's another aspect of bravery that he shows. Like he's constantly putting himself in situations which most introverted people would avoid.
Yeah, and I think I want to expand on that point quite a lot. That's actually another one of my points as a whole, is kind of his attitude to the team and how he joined, and how much he sacrificed and put his faith in others, and how much responsibility he took on. Because if you think about Jin, he very much kind of had a path set out for him. He knew what he was doing. He was an older member, so he was already on the track of going in one direction. He had his obviously he was studying acting, and he wanted to be an actor, and he had the kind of backup of his family with that, and to then change that and just completely put blind faith in other people in a company, in a completely different career choice than what you were initially planning on doing, that takes so much courage. And I really admire him for being able to just kind of leap into the void of the unknown and do the best he can with it, because he not only did that, but he became the oldest member from a family where he was the youngest, and he took on so much responsibility, and it's so brave.
So brave. I have a full go on that. Like, one of my points is that he's just the best Hyung ever, the best big brother. Like, he really took on that role when he joined as a trainee, even not as well BTS. But I think like he and Jungkook came basically at the same time to BTS. They always fight about who saw Namjoon first. Which always laugh. and the fact that he came, like you said, he was the youngest in his family, and all of a sudden he's stepping into this eldest member role, and he came from a background that was acting and not singing and not dancing. And to see like these younger people that maybe were already more had more practice in that in those fields, it's very easy to either be jealous of them or to and have some sort of resentment, and also to use your big brother status to damage or hurt or even ignore, or I don't know, like, because you don't automatically come with that reverence of a big brother, so it's very easy to abuse that role. And he didn't do that. He basically nurtured Jungkook, and he bought him food. He took him to school. He cooked for the members. He had such a positive presence on all of them as a big brother. That's just amazing. It's amazing to see. And instead of jealousy, he used it to motivate him and to be better, to be the best version he can be. And it's so beautiful to see that.
I agree. I agree completely. And I think that Jin honestly embodies the definition of selflessness. He is one of the most selfless people I've ever known. He constantly puts others ahead of himself. And the way that is so selfless is that he does it silently. He doesn't do it. He doesn't get any recognition for doing that. A lot of the times, like, for example, with him making jokes and making the situation lighter, things like that, he does that completely silently without, and like I say, it took me a while to realize that wasn't his full personality, because he doesn't ever want any credit for it. And he does this in a lot of different ways, in his contributions, in the fact that he is the eldest, but he doesn't abuse that, and he kind of tries to relate to each of them. And it's really telling, I think, in the episode of Burn the Stage, when he does have an argument with Tae, and they have to remind Tae, like, he is older than you, and you do have to remember this, because that just goes to show that they forget that because Jin doesn't use it, and that's really admirable. Yeah,
definitely. It's that relationship. I think the relationship between the BTS members, a lot of it has to do with Jin and Yoongi and stuff like that, not being so uptight about the older members being more having more power or stuff like that. Like, I think they really appreciate one another as equals, and it's very hard when there's such a big age difference. Like, now they're all older and they've been through stuff, and they grew up, and it's not as big, I guess, as impactful, that age difference. But when they started, like, Jungkook was 15 and Jin was 21. It's such a big difference.
Yeah.
Like, he was in middle school and he was in the university, and it's a very big difference, and in most groups this would create some sort of separation, and here it didn't, and it's beautiful.
And not only that, but I think that how he took on this new dream, and he says himself that he dreamt of being an actor, but then he dreamt of being a singer like he is now. And the fact that he took on this new dream, honestly, none of us will ever know why, because when you think about it, what benefit did Jin get at the beginning from joining this group? It wasn't what he wanted to do. He was, like, a lot less trained than the others, so he got a lot less line distribution, he got a lot less screen time, he had to practice twice as hard, and he had to move into the dorm and look after all of them, even though he came from a family where he was constantly looked after. And none of us will ever know why he made that decision. But he really didn't have to do that. He really didn't. He could have easily walked away. He could have easily said, this isn't for me, and I don't feel like I'm getting what I should be getting. I don't feel like it's fair. But he never did that. He just took it all and continued and fought and worked hard and took all of this responsibility with no payoff, which is just amazing. It shows how unbelievably selfless he is. And I mean, it says it in his lyrics to Awake, which even that, it took him a long time to be able to get the song approved. But it says, like, maybe I won't fly, but I hold these 6 flower petals in my hand. Like, it's enough for me to see them growing and to see them blooming. And that's enough. And I'll keep trying to stay up and keep up with them. Yeah. And I'm glad that it doesn't seem to be that way anymore. I really one of my favorite things about their journey is how much more appreciation Jin gets now, how much more he gets in the center, how many more lines he gets, how much more confident he is, because his skills are completely on par with everyone else, and there would be no BTS without Jin.
No BTS without Jin. I think one of the things about Jin that we'll never know, he's so mysterious. I think, like, he keeps so much to himself. There's a photo, it's like a side tweet about it, like a very long time ago, but it really stuck with me because it's so true. There's a photo of Yoongi dressed in all black and Jin in this adorable pink sweater or hoodie and those tight jeans, and they're standing next to each other, and the title said, the tweet said, one of them shares his thoughts with you and puts his heart on his sleeve, and one of them is mysterious and you don't know what's going on in his head, and it's not the one that you think, because Yoongi shares so much of his thoughts with us through lyrics, through his words, and Jin is always so much, he always tries to make us happy and make ARMY feel good, that he does it a lot of time at the expense of sharing what he actually feels.
Yeah, I think he has a very fine but definite line between his work life and his private life. And the members kind of go about this in their own ways, and each one falls somewhere on one side or the other. But with Jin, he definitely is more on the side of, I just want to show the good. And you see it in that video that they recently uploaded from the Seoul concert, where he was crying and he said, no, I'm not crying, I'm only going to show you the good. And you see it in his lyrics to Moon as well. I wonder if you'll be able to see my scars and my wounds. And I think he hides a lot of things from ARMY, but something that's important to remember is that this is his personal choice, and we have to respect that this is the way he wants to be, and this is what makes him the happiest. So I don't think it worries me in any way to not know how he feels on the inside.
It doesn't worry me either. Like, I'm sure he's surrounded by people that love him, and he has a very good support system, I believe. So it's not like I'm worried that he's hiding or can't. He closes things inside and can't share them with anyone. It's just that he chooses not to share that with us, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. He doesn't have to.
Yeah, and I think he does it not just with us, but with the members as well. And again, from that clip in Burn the Stage, when he says, like, I'm just trying to stay positive and happy for you all, but I also get sad. And Namjoon said in his live recently that when he read the lyrics to Moon, he realized that Jin has a lot going on that nobody knows about, because he is being that supportive older brother, and he's doing that for us, and he's doing that for the members, because a lot of what it means to be the elder one, and a lot of what it means to be the one taking care of others, is that you are trying to be strong for them so that they can give you their sadness, and you never give it back. He's just so selfless.
Yeah, definitely. I think that if like every member embodies something that is so BTS, then for me, Jin embodies hard work. Like, you can't say BTS without saying hard work, and you can't say Jin without saying hard work. He worked so hard that even when he was asleep, he had nightmares that he was practicing and failing and getting yelled at. There's videos of him practicing in all hours of the night. He trained to go from someone without vocal coach practice, without dance practice, at age 20, which is relatively old in those kind of fields, to go from that to what they do now, or what they did even in their debut. And the way his vocal tone changed so much that even the Grammy panel called his voice silver voice. It's just phenomenal, and it's all because of his hard work. He puts so much. Let It Go, who? I only know Awake.
True.
It could have been a part of Frozen easily.
Oh, I feel like Jin's songs a lot of the time feel like they should be in a Disney movie.
Definitely. Especially with the violins, and like they're always so grand.
Yeah, they feel like they're just a big production. There should be a whole orchestra behind him, and what I wanted to say about Jin's voice is, for me, Jin's voice is the one that makes me cry the easiest. Like whenever
easy like that.
yeah, like I don't even need to know the lyrics. As soon as I hear one of Jin's songs, they usually get me crying, because I feel like his voice has this unique quality of just wrapping emotion up into like a ball and like throwing it at you. That's like my best way of describing it. You just feel something when he sings, and I think it's so special. It's so grand, like you say, and powerful. He is just perfect at ballads. Oh, he is the perfect ballad singer.
I was so happy we got Moon, which isn't a ballad, because he's so good in ballads that I feel you almost take it for granted how good he is. And Moon is so much fun and light, and still with emotion and like amazing lyrics and everything, but it's so much more smaller, that it feels even closer. Like it hits you sometimes even harder.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably disagree with you there. I think for me, Moon is my favorite of the album, as everyone probably knows by now.
Yeah,
I think Moon is sadder than it seems, and I think that it's a lot.
That's exactly what I mean. Like it feels that because it's like it doesn't have the scale like of ballads with the violins and like all the production behind it. Actually, the lyrics and the song itself, even though it sounds like this fun guitar song, the lyrics hit you harder.
Yeah, I mean, I love Moon so much. So but I've talked about how much I love Moon many times. So, but I think it just it comes from his voice, and a lot of the time you could just hear Jin a cappella, and it would feel just as grand, and it would feel just as powerful. And I think that's something that you can't learn. I think it's something you just have, and Jin has that.
What's your favorite like Jin vocal moment?
I think it would be either the triple high note in Crystal Snow, because what? And the other one is the O's in Epiphany, when he sings the O's. They're probably my two favorite just snap moments that I can think of that I love from him. What about you?
Me, if because you choose to, then I'll choose to. It's the Come Back Home, when he does in the beginning. It's a bit different from how he usually sounds. And it's the rock Jin back vocals in Dionysus. I wish there was a track where you can just listen to that almost, because he's so good, and it's so hard to make vocals like that sound good.
Yeah, and I mean, he does it all the time, doesn't he? When he's just sitting there and he'll just like let out a scream into a mic, and he's doing it in a joking way, but it takes so much skill to be able to do that in your like head voice. It's amazing.
Jin is just so, I don't want to, it's not, it sounds effortless. It's obviously not in any way, because all the hard work he put into it over the years makes it seem effortless. And it's so beautiful to see him like just sitting there singing, or like when he practices for Epiphany in his hotel room, and it's just his vocal voice is really silver is really a good way to say it, because it's so pure.
You know how you said before how you had a dream of hearing like a full rock song with Jin's voice? I think my dream scenario with Jin would be Jin singing like a musical theatre number, like a solo from Les Mis or something like that. Could you imagine how good he would sound on a song like that?
That would be amazing. Like using all his acting abilities, all his singing abilities, bringing it to one.
Oh, that would be the dream. I would love that so much.
Yeah. No, but my real wish list for Jin is a Namjoon unit with June doing like style of Love the Way You Lie with Eminem and Rihanna, where like Namjoon does rap, Jin does a very strong chorus. Namjoon does a rap, Jin does a strong chorus, but then they switch, and Jin just belts out this verse, and then Namjoon does a soft chorus, like with his raspy rap voice.
That would be great.
That's my like ultimate Jin moment song that I wish that we'll probably never get, but that's what I want.
Yeah, same. Yeah, so we want that with those two and Jin as the lead role in Les Miserables. That would be so good. But it's also, I think it's also important to talk about his songwriting abilities and how much he has contributed in terms of melody and lyrics, because I think that his melodies, and especially I'd like to focus on Awake, because there's like stories that go around about how he had to kind of change the melodies and the lyrics multiple times before it was accepted, and he had to ask them to add it to the album and things like this. And for a first attempt at fully creating a solo song, Awake is one of the most astonishing achievements. I think the melodies are so interesting. They're not typical. They're very different. And the lyrics are so moving and heartwarming. And he uses metaphors. And I just think it's incredible that that was his first ever solo that he created himself. And he's just been getting better and better ever since then with the amount that he's been contributing.
I hope that now that he's slightly finding more of his comfort zone and confidence to put out solo work, I really hope we'll get more, because he really shines. Like, he is a great songwriter, and his melodies, like I said, they sometimes it gets lost in the mix with the other contributing producers and members and stuff. But Jin really does a good job with the contributing melodies and lyrics. Like, he also did the two of the outros. He was a part of the writing process. And Epiphany, obviously, I really hope we'll get to experience this more, because I think there's a reason why Awake, for example, if I'm not mistaken, was the only solo song that trended on Billboard or something.
Right, let's move on to Jin's dancing. So, I just want to say, how amazing is it that we've had so much Center Jin this comeback? In On and in Black Swan, we got so much Center Jin, and he had his own individual movements.
Center Jin makes me happy in a way that I can't even explain it. It just brings such a huge smile to my face to see Jin right there in the center, especially in something like Black Swan, which is so, it's not the usual just attention hip hop moves, but it's more fluid and contemporary, and seeing him like front and center doing that, it makes me feel warm inside.
And I think, honestly, I feel the same. And I think the reason why I feel that way is because he's earned it, you know? Yes. He really has earned that right to be in the center and to be given the moves that highlight him and his dancing. And it just makes me so happy, because he really deserves that. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh, yes, Center Jin. And he just pulls it off so well. Like, he is an incredible dancer, and I know that a lot of people say kind of he's one of the worst dancers in the group, or maybe not so much anymore, but back in the day, him and Namjoon and Yoongi were the ones who But when you actually compare in terms of worldwide talent, worldwide handsome, when you think in terms of like the scale of people in this world, he is an incredible dancer. And of course, it's going to be
even in the scale of dancers in the world, not just like general people, but actual dancers.
Yeah, definitely, like professional dancers that do it full time. He is right up there with them. And I mean, of course, it's easy to, it's like when people say Jimin is short. Like, Jimin is not short, but he's the shortest member. And I don't even think you could say any of them are worse than, like, are at the bottom of the pile anymore, because they all bring something
so
to each
above
routine.
Everyone else. It's just the bottom it's irrelevant. It's not there. They don't even see it.
Exactly. And I mean, they all practice so hard, and you can really tell. And I recently rewatched American Hustle Life, because even though there's things I don't like about it, I really do like the show, and I think it was a really great part of their journey. And there are things you can pick out about it that are not good, but like I think they learned a lot, and I think
I think it was very important for them.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the first two episodes that much. I kind of get really annoyed when I watch the first two episodes, but the rest of it I really like. But anyway, I rewatched it, and when you see Jin's dancing in American Hustle life compared to now. And it's not even that he was bad back then, because I don't think he was bad at all. It literally is one of my favorite things when him and Hobie perform their routine, and he does so well, and he looks amazing. And I like cried when I watched that, because I was just so proud. But when you like see how far he has come, and he bashes on himself all the time for his dancing, and I love that all the other members are like, "Hey, don't say that. You're a great dancer." And that's what I would be like if I was there.
Yeah.
He really has such a skill nowadays, and he doesn't give himself anywhere near enough credit in this and in anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. He really doesn't give himself. I think now he's better at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he says a lot of times that he uses ARMY to increase his own confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with time, you can see that. I do think he's more confident now than he was. Yeah, he really should give himself more credit because he's amazing.
He is. Yeah.
I think his love for ARMY is really special. Like with all the little heart events and with Moon and with the relationship he has with ARMY. I really love that. As an ARMY, I really love that.
I do as well. And I think it's really easy for people to negate Jin's love for ARMY because it's not as in your face maybe as some of the other members. It's not expressed necessarily through direct words all the time. And I think he has his own way of going about showing how much he loves ARMY. And for me personally, it's one of my favorites. Just the way that he teases ARMY on Weverse, but does it in a cute way, and does all of these little events, like his heart events, because he wants to make them smile, and just
the glasses, like in the Love Yourself tour, like all these time, like you said, the Weverse. It's like these sweet, cute comebacks that come from a really cute and loving place. It's just,
and I think like it's easy to not see it, but I see it so clearly how much he loves ARMY, and I think he does it in a way that you don't need to explain. You just feel, and it's actions. Actions speak louder than words with Jin, I think, and. I really love that about him. I think he's so considerate and caring, and just all of the advice that he gives ARMY, the way that he talks about ARMY, the way he interacts with ARMY, it's just like, it's literally like an older brother, and I love it.
Yeah, I also feel like I saw a clip from 2013 today where he talked about how he'll work hard and put himself through stuff and like improve himself so that ARMY will be proud. You feel it. You see that everything he does. It's like a gift. Mm-hmm. He improves himself for us. He works hard for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very sweet.
And I said before when we were talking about Moon, but the fact that each of the members got to decide on the topic of what they wanted to do for their personal solo explanation about their deepest selves, and the fact that he decided that what he truly wanted to make was something showing how much he loved ARMY. I think that is, again, so selfless, because and it goes to show just how much he cares for ARMY, and the lyrics themselves just show that in such a huge way.
Because the album wasn't short on songs that show love for ARMY. Like you had the whole Persona album, you had We Are Bulletproof, Eternal. There wasn't a shortage of songs that show BTS's love for ARMY, but this isn't BTS's love for ARMY, it's Jin's love for ARMY. And
and I love that there are so many things Jin has taught me as a person, because I think Jin has this way of making you feel like everything's going to be okay, and you just have to keep a positive mindset, and you just have to kind of stay happy and not think too deeply about things. And for me, that's something I struggle a lot with. I'm a very big thinker. I'm constantly overthinking everything. And Jin has taught me a new way of seeing life, and especially in terms of confidence. And one of the things I always remember about Jin, I think it was recently even, when he said how if you feel embarrassed, just bring all of your embarrassment together and then it's confidence. And I loved that. And he has these little quips like this all the time that he comes out with, where it's just like, oh, well, if things look bad, let's spin it and we'll make it good. It doesn't matter what it is. Let's just twist it around and use it to our advantage and make it into something positive. It's such a great mindset.
I also think he's really good at putting people in their place when they need to be without coming off as too much like, I don't know, mean or in charge or anything like that. Like for example, there was that, it's not really like an after concert interview where when they broke the Chinese, what's it called? Fortune cookies, the fortune cookies.
Yeah,
and he said that he has to kiss a member. And he said, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, come on, people want to see. He said, so if people want to see, it doesn't mean I need to do that. I'm not going to do that. But he did it in such a cute, and then he started screaming. And he did it in such a cute way, but very assertive and very direct. And he has all these tiny moments where he thinks about how this looks and he won't do something that it's not comfortable for him. And I think he also thinks about the other members and does it for the other members when they can't do it themselves.
Yeah. We often make the jokes about how it's Jin here and how he's in charge of everything, which is funny. But one of my favorite moments of him was when he said that the stylist wanted to cut his hair, so he brought out Rock because scissors can't win against Rock. And then, like, that's just so funny. And he really has a way of putting his foot down, but doing it in a respectful and kind way. And he uses that a lot. He uses it with ARMY, with the members, with the company. And he's just very much like, I'm going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to make you feel happy about it. And that's great.
I also want to talk about his kindness, because he really, like, he does stuff quietly without being showboaty about it, but he does so much. If it's from donating constantly and to, for example, UNICEF gave him the UNICEF Honor Cup because he donated so much money to UNICEF, and like him specifically. And when Sleepy, a rapper that he was with him in, I think, Laws of the Jungle it was.
Yeah, I remember this.
Talked about how he was having a hard time, and Jin contacted him and asked him how he was, and like he's just so kind, so and caring to the people around him.
Yeah, and just to add on to that with the rapper, is it Sleepy? Is that his name? Like the dwarf?
So. Yeah.
The thing I loved so much about that the rapper shared about what Jin had said was how he reassured him that he knows that it's difficult to accept help from others. And it's so easy to say, oh, here you go, I'll give you some money, I'll help you out. But it's a very different level of kindness to be so emotionally intelligent that you can read how other people are going to feel about it, and you want it to come across in the most selfless way possible. Because again, like, he takes no credit. And with UNICEF, he spoke before in his speech about how his father had always taught him to help others. And he constantly is doing that. He's constantly helping and supporting others without it being something that he takes credit for.
Yeah, he doesn't broadcast it. That thing you said, like, he has so many like little nuggets of emotional support that he gives to Sleepy, he gives to ARMY. Like when he said that if someone else is having a bad time or a worse time, it doesn't mean that what you're going through isn't bad, or that you have to diminish your own feelings because someone else has it worse. And I think that's something that a lot of people do. Like when they struggle, people tell them, oh, but there are worse things out there. But everyone deals with stuff differently. And just because it's hard, someone else is having a hard time doesn't mean that you aren't. Or when he talked to Namjoon about like using ARMY to love yourself, which Namjoon took it as a bad thing and Jin took it as a good thing. Like Jin uses it to enforce his confidence, and at first Namjoon looked at it as something bad. Like I'm not being more confident myself. I'm using someone else to do that. So it's bad. And I think the emotional support that he gives to ARMY, to BTS, and to everyone around him is quiet but powerful. Yeah,
and I think he just makes you want to be a more positive and a better person. And he definitely enriches my life in that way. And I see Jin and I immediately think, I'm just going to try a little bit harder to be happy, because I know that that's what he would tell me to do and how he approaches things. Like, imagine how much easier it would be to be happy if you had someone like Jin who like pulled out his laugh throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like you could not be miserable when listening to
No.
Jin's laugh. It would be the
No,
best.
you can't.
Hmm.
It's just, I think how many times like I watched that clip where he does like the dad jokes, the puns, but they're in Korean, so you don't really understand them. But his laugh is so contagious that you laugh every time.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we should talk now about Jin's humor. Actually, it's a good segue
Yeah.
into that. I remember Jin saying on Weverse recently that an ARMY said, "Oh, people don't laugh at my dad jokes," and then Jin was like, "Oh, well, you have to have a handsome face," or something like this. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But I think Jin is hilarious, and his dad jokes make me laugh so much. And it's not because they're funny; it's because of his execution.
Exactly, it's his delivery.
It's his delivery, and this plays into why he's such a good MC, why he like is so great on kind of reality shows and things like that. Because
His comedic timing is just amazing.
and he's able to make everyone laugh around him, because if they're not laughing and if they don't find it funny, then he finds it funny, so then they find him funny. And it's just, he always has this way of making you laugh even if you don't want to laugh.
Yeah, you can see it with the members too. Like they always try to hold themselves, but eventually they break because he's so good at it. And he's even if the joke itself falls flat, his laughter just brings it right back up.
And his comments on Weverse, I want to talk about these because honestly, they make me die laughing so regularly. They are hilarious. Like his wit and his sarcasm and his comebacks. Like he does it almost every day where he comes up with something and just answers in the most hilarious way possible. And I laugh so much at his Weverse comments. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And another thing I love about him is he just embarrasses himself constantly and embarrasses those around him. And it's so funny. Like when he speaks about, when he does the whole, BTS to everyone.
Yeah. I love that.
Same. He just like, he has no shame when it comes to these things because he knows that it's funny and it makes people laugh.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't make others laugh, it makes him laugh. Like I love that moment in Malta, I think it was, when he says, BTS, and there's nobody there.
No.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, he will do that joke. Everyone around him will facepalm, but it's so funny. Like it's the same with like every time he does like he says worldwide handsome, but he does it like in a very extra way. Like where's like in Graham Norton where they were really
where's camera?
Yeah, where's the camera? Like because that night was really tough because Jimin was hurt and Jungkook was injured and he was like so extra with it, and you see them like all grabbing their hands but smiling because it works. It's funny and it breaks the ice, and he's hilarious.
Yeah, and he really doesn't hold back. Like even with things like saying Joker guy on Carpool, like that's so funny to me that he said that as a response to James Corden saying he was called worldwide handsome. Like he has no shame. It's like, oh, you must be joking. But that is so funny.
That reply with worse execution would have fallen so flat, would have created such an upward atmosphere.
Yeah.
But because it's him and he does it with such like joy, extra laugh, like you know that he's joking with you and not like in a mean way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I love him on reality shows, and he's just the best host as well. Like that time when he is on the red carpet and he just pulls out confetti and like throws it over everyone. That is so funny. Oh my god. And the bit where somebody says that he's handsome. What does he reply? I can't remember what he replies now. It's like, I know, yes. And everybody just is dying at him because, and this is the thing that what makes it so funny to me is that he is not like egotistical in any way. He does not flaunt his attractiveness. He does not think he's the most handsome person in the world. He's actually quite an insecure person. He said himself that he likes to give himself positive affirmations in the mirror to make himself feel better. So that's what makes it even better, is that it's all done just in an over-exaggerated, funny way. It's never in a way that makes you think, oh, well, this guy's a bit full of himself. Like he's got so much humility in it, which is what makes it so funny.
But speaking of looks, I think we need to talk a little bit about how he looks.
About WWH.
about WWH.
I mean, we all know, let's just put it out there, we all know that Kim Seokjin is way too good for anyone on this earth, and he is just the definition of a perfect man. The shoulders, the face, perfection. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even has the golden ratio in his face. Like even like scientists said that he's perfect. There's just no arguing with it.
But I think that's what I love about him as well, is he overplays it, but he does it in a way that is
underplayed.
That underplays it. Exactly. He's so good at doing that, and he's not afraid of pulling funny faces. He's not always looking in the mirror or trying to look cool. Like, he just is himself and is silly and crazy, and that makes him even more attractive.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, we missed with when we said face and shoulders and the lips.
And his lips. That mosquitoes even find attractive. And also his shoulder to waist ratio. What is that?
Yeah, that torpedo shape.
And he's so tall. He's just an incredibly attractive man.
All in a very fun, warm, kind, humble, goofy, smiley, happy package.
Yeah, exactly. We all get a bit flustered when we talk about the attractiveness of Kim Seokjin. And how does he seem to just get more and more attractive with age?
He doesn't actually age. I think he aged like 2 years. I think since he started and stopped.
Well, he said that he acts younger so that he looks younger. I think it's working. You know, maybe I'll have to start doing that. His dancing in Fifth Muster really got me feeling a type of way.
Yeah, and also his Taejin moments in So What, the whole Love Yourself, Speak Yourself, or Love Yourself tour, were just, we really need a cold shower.
Jin's English skill. Oh, okay, perfect. So what I love about Jin's English is he doesn't care if he doesn't know every word. He will just form sentences to make friends. And the thing that I love the most when thinking about Jin's English, and what always comes to my mind, is in Malta when he goes and has a drink by himself and he just starts making friends with everyone.
Yeah, it's such a cute moment.
So cute. And like, he doesn't know all of the words, but he can easily get through conversations. I think he could have a conversation with anyone in English just because he can pull things apart. And another one that I literally always die about is, you know, in the zombie episode of Run BTS.
Yeah,
when he walks past the zombie and he's like, "You want a Jin sticker? Worldwide handsome."
Yeah.
And I just feel like he could make friends with anyone.
You don't need those connective words between them. You can very easily get your point across just by, like, obviously all of them learned English in school. So you learn how to read, you learn how to write, you learn how to listen, but speaking is very different. Because in speaking you usually think in your own language and then have to translate it. And so speaking, even if Yoongi or any one of the members understands English, speaking is, without preparing for it beforehand, is much, much, much more difficult. It's a whole other skill level. It's like, it's the hardest thing to do, to be able to speak.
You have to be very brave and have a lot of confidence.
For example, like I traveled a lot in Asia, and like in Japan and Korea, a lot of people would avoid, even if they have some basic, or I would go with the translator to ask, like people would avoid answering questions because they feel embarrassed that they don't understand English. So they would just avoid it completely. And it's something that's very common. And the fact that he so puts himself out there and he's so brave about it, and he understands that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to get your point across and do it with a smile.
I love how he adds, you know, to everything. Every sentence finishes with, you know. And even JK started doing the same thing. And I remember in his live, he was like, yeah, Jin Hyung taught me to say, you know, after everything. And I was like, we don't really do that. We don't really say, you know, like we do it occasionally, but it's just so funny to me. It's like his catchphrase now is just, you know, after every sentence.
Well, I did want to talk about actor Jin a bit.
Yes.
I really hope we get actor Jin more.
Like, did you see him in the videos for BTS World? Because he was incredible.
It was so good.
He was so good.
I really want to. I think he's one of the reasons why I'm still playing.
Yeah, his cutscenes are so good. He just expresses emotions so well in his face. And yeah, I would love to see him in something one day. And yeah, Jin's acting in the BU as well. His acting in the BU is also incredible. And he takes on a lot of screen time because he is the main character in the BU. And the way he pulls it off is so amazing. And just like, for an example, in the Run music video, when Tae is underwater and then it kind of skips frames to just Jin's face looking at the camera. And you immediately know something is going on there just from this expression on his face. He does an incredible job. Oh, I want to talk about Jin's aegyo because it is the cutest thing ever. And he has no shame to do it. And he does it for ARMY because he knows ARMY loves it. So he just pulls out all of these cute little faces and voices, and it's adorable. And his ears go bright red every time he does it, but he's so the cutest. And I remember him saying once, he doesn't want younger people to call him cute, but I'm sorry, Kim Seokjin, you're adorable, and I'm going to call you cute.
Yeah, like even when he does like he has two kinds of kisses, like the kind that's like big and the kind that's small and tiny and just so pinch his cheek, adorable. Do you
remember from Magic Shop when he did the was it like love attack or something, and he like shot ARMY with like a love attack? That was adorable. Angry Rapper Jin.
Rapper Jin is hilarious.
Oh my goodness. Angry Rapper Jin is the funniest thing ever, and I'm not surprised that nobody can take it seriously. But the thing I love about it as well is that he plays it off, and you always know that he's not really angry. Like, he's just kind of enjoying being angry and just, it's so funny. And yeah, I think that somebody should record one of Jin's angry rants one day and then add it to music, because I think that would make a great diss track.
Yeah. Like when he's yelling at Namjoon for being ungrateful for his presence.
Oh my god, yeah, that is probably the best one. So funny. Okay.
Yeah, and also Run BTS Jin in general is just so he's smart. He gets it. There's a reason why Team Kim Seokjin usually doesn't lose. And I love the fact that now the other members call their team, even if he's not part of the team. Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny where when I first watched Run BTS, I laughed so much at how there was just a consistent 20 or so episodes when one of the teams was named Team Kim Seokjin, even when he wasn't in the actual team. That was the best.
Yeah, and he does such a good MC job in those episodes.
Yeah, he is an incredible MC. It wouldn't surprise me if one day he was an MC on a show, like a proper MC. I mean, I think he'd be great at it. I would love to see it. Oh, the edit of Run with Jin's windshield wiper laughs. And that is one of the funniest edits I've ever seen. I think I retweeted it because it literally killed me. But if you haven't seen it, just maybe put it in YouTube. It's like Jin, Run, laughing edit. Something like that. You'll find it. It's hilarious.
Also, we didn't talk about Jin's cooking, which is a travesty.
His Eat Jin segments. My favorite of his cooking skills was when he brought water for his Eat Jin.
No, it's not just that. He was even in they did I think it was an IO competition of cooking. They had to cook an egg or something, and he was the only one that took out the small membrane on the yolk. And his cooking skills are really impressive.
Yeah, he used to cook so much for the other members, and they all praise his cooking a lot. I don't think he cooks much anymore. I think I remember him saying that he doesn't really cook much anymore. But he's a fantastic cook, and he has his own restaurant as well. Yeah,
with his brother.
Yeah.
I think he's a very nurturing person. And a lot of that comes in how he, again, will take care of Jungkook and his relationship with him, and how he takes care of the other members in small, tiny ways. And one of them is the fact that he cooks for them. He used to cook when they were in the beginning living together.
Yeah.
And I think you really see he really pours his love into it. Even when he had to do it for the punishment for the Run BTS episode, and he had to wake up at 3 a.m. so they could have so Namjoon and Tae could have food at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
He did it with his whole heart. He didn't just half-ass it or just pour stuff together. He really made a meal for them.
It made me think of when you were talking that time when Hobie was sick and he just went and placed RJ on him. It's the same kind
Yeah.
of silent love and silent like nurturing of just, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to come and just like put this teddy on you because I'm hoping it will
Yeah.
make you feel better, and then I'm going
Or
to leave.
or Namjoon had to practice for the UN speech. The
Mhm.
whole day, like that whole episode, you see him with RJ holding RJ.
Mhm. It's
Because
adorable.
it's like, it's like his way of giving, like, here, hold this, I'm with you. It's like a way of comforting them when they need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love how unashamed Jin is of like his childlike enthusiasm of things, like how much he loves Mario, how much he loves plushies, and how much he loves pink, and things that some people might be embarrassed to like and to share, or might not make him seem very masculine, or
Yeah,
he doesn't care about that. He likes what he likes, and he isn't afraid to show it. And that's
yeah,
really, again, it's very brave, and it's just very inspiring, and it makes other people feel like they can be themselves, and it doesn't matter what other people think.
yeah. He's really comfortable in his own skin, I think. Like a lot of men would avoid, like, he doesn't just do like the salmon pink or something. Like, he goes full on with
Oh
it.
yeah.
And it's so adorable and pretty or beautiful, depends on what kind of outfit he has. And
Hmm.
like, no one can say Jean is not masculine in any
Agree.
way.
Have you
In
seen
any
him
way.
on that horse at MMA? Because
Yeah.
he's like the manliest
No, no,
man
no.
ever. I tell you what we
Yeah.
can do now, the same way that we did with Junie, is we'll go onto our Twitters, because we posted on our Twitters that we would be doing Jin this week, and we asked for your comments so that we could read some of them out. So we will do that now. We'll pick one each and go back and forth. So let's get our
Uh,
Twitter feeds
yeah.
up. You go first if
Uh,
you've got one.
okay. Yeah, I got something. It's from the handle is the probably should pick something I can read. Sion. No, there's no way I can say this.
Just spell it out.
CYNO, sure, four. Okay. He said, or they say, his quiet strength, his intelligence, his voice and dancing skills, his acting, especially his facial expressions, and that always tells a story. His eloquence when speaking, the way he writes his songs, with meaning and hope, but also with emotion and pain. His humble nature and manners. And I think this, sorry, is something like it reminded me that we didn't talk about. Part of Jane, like we in the beginning talked about his bravery
Hmm.
and the ability to call, like when he calls people out and does it with a certain warmness.
Hmm.
This year in the Mama Awards when they won,
Yes,
that was such a brave moment
it
to stand
was.
there and say, let's have music with honesty and integrity.
Hmm. He really is
Uh,
a true CEO material, just a
yeah,
businessman, somebody who can just lead people, and I've really respected him a lot for saying that, especially in a time when it was so relevant. So this comes from at 0000 in a child, and they say, I don't know how to express it, but he is really special. He's a kind of person that everybody needs in their life. And I agree.
this is from Sagit Army.
Mhm.
I love how he helps other members feel comfortable in some situations. He knows how to break the ice. He doesn't take himself serious sometimes, and I find that beautiful. That he's able to do something stupid, but he's so confident about it that it suits him.
Mhm. So this comes from at 3 Neliotta, and they say, for me, the thing that amazes me is even Jin is the oldest in the group, and he still tries to make the group fun and entertaining and to fit in with the other members, even though he's older. He's really funny. I also like when he argues with them when they talk about his age, like JK. And yeah, we didn't really go into this, but I love how he is able to just interact with all the members and just play around and be silly. It's a great quality.
Yeah. I have one from Acelia Munjin. She says, Jin is my bias, my happiness pill, my mood maker. I fell in love with his personality, his humor, and how he is a hardworking person. His hard events from the Wing Tour, the way he always thinks of armies, but also I wonder about his wounds, as in his song Moon. He always tries to be strong.
Yeah, it is true, but I think, like I said before, he's made a conscious decision to separate the two sides of
Yeah,
himself, and so I think it's quite admirable that he does that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this from at Monet's Beret just says everything question mark, which agreed.
Which, yeah, there's no denying that. In fact.
참 이상해 분명 난 너를 너무 사랑했는데 모두 너에게 맞추고 널 위해 살고 싶었는데 그럴수록 내 맘속에 폭풍을 감당할 수 없게 돼 웃고 있는 가면 속에 진짜 내 모습을 다 드러내 I'm the one I should love in this world 빛나는 나를 소중한 내 영혼을 이제야 깨달아 So I love me 좀 부족해도 너무 아름다운 걸 I'm the one I should love 소중한 날 숨겨두고 싶었는지 뭐가 그리 두려워 내 진짜 모습을 숨겼는지 I'm the one I should love in this world 빛나는 나를 소중한 내 영혼을 이제야 깨달아 부족해도 너무 아름다운 걸 I'm the one I should love 조금은 무뚝하고 부족할지 몰라 수줍은 광채 따위